I didn't want to be in that bed either, you know. I thought I could get up and run around, but I've got it. I just started. I didn't watch. I wasn't watching TV or anything like that. So I started writing this thing right here. I was afraid that I was going to forget some of the things up there, you know, and I'll be a few notes up there later too.
Yeah, I knew that. Old Lucius told me about building a boat with you up there. Lucius Edwards.
Yeah.
He went up there and built a boat.
I didn't call it Lucius, I called it Luscious.
Luscious, yeah.
Luscious. He came up, but he never wanted me to work on the boat, except when he was there. So it was pretty cool. When he got off work, he'd drive up there.
Yeah.
We'd get out there and do so much, and he'd tell me, well, I got to go, you know. So we'd shut it down, or I'd finish up what we were doing, and he'd come back the next time we'd do the next morning.
Right.
I don't know how much he learned, but I showed him everything he wanted to know.
Well, when you're doing it with your hands, when you're doing it with your hands, you're learning a lot. You know, doing it yourself. So he got lucky. I got lucky. You know, I built a few boats with Smokey there, so I actually got to, you know, see the whole process being done. And once you get the mystery out of it, then you can, you know, move along pretty good. But, hello. What's quite a chunk of wood they got there. Did you see that?
You're having a hell of a right time finding something to make the bass stem out of.
Is that right? Think they might have to glue one up?
We're going to have to glue any of them. We've glued every one I've ever done. But look at, we don't have the thickest wood that we need.
What were you using there?
2 by 4 by 3 inches, 2 by 6 by 3 inches. That's a 2 by 4 on top, and that's down here, so that's 6 inches.
Oh.
And that's, but look, see, they're working on it over there.
Yeah. That's about 2 inches. Maybe a little over 2 inches. Might be 2.5.
That's going to be.
How thick is that?
Hey, that piece off the bottom there. Take that piece off the bottom and use it. That cross piece.
Right, but it's not enough to get everything.
I know, you're going to put something else with it. There's no splits in it, is it?
No, but it's a little rough, but I can get both bow stems out of this one piece right here that I'm going to pull out. These we can use for the transom, or we can use for the dry box pieces. But 40 inches will give me both bow stems.
Is this a split on this side, just a very
But that's just a mark that it's not going to hurt anything. It's getting cut
I
away.
saw that while ago and I thought it was
No, it's just
How thick is that? 2? 2.25 or what?
Is that a pen?
Yes, sir. I think I recognize you.
recognize you.
Yeah, I don't want to use that.
I got your pencil coming.
Okay.
Dan Ryan.
Not getting in trouble.
No pencil. No pencil, no button.
The wood will mess up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I built one last week over there. I put one together. How much more do you need? 22 foot. You're not gonna mess it up that much. 22 foot.
They set up the rule road.
I wanted to get 150 more. So it's got a 4-foot bottom, but it's 6 foot on top. There's a guy down in Port Mansfield that's
50 years later.
Jack, what Jack doing?
he's fishing and he's getting on it.
His name on him.
Oh, really? He's doing real good.
Excuse me, sir, for just a second.
Barney, are you filming us?
Hi, I'm Barney Farley. Yeah, I'm just checking to see who.
Hey, how you doing,
I'm
Mark?
just checking to see if there's any criminals in here.
Yeah, you take the pictures for those.
They'll be out the door, nothing flat.
I invited
My dad had it here. Mark Teller.
Mark Keller.
How you doing, sir?
How you doing?
Pretty well.
Tell me what you do then.
Rick said he had a CrossFit somewhere. Lord knows.
That's gonna be for the bow stem. So we get both bow stems out of that one piece.
Now, don't we have to glue two of them together?
Two-piece stem or a?
Yeah, it's 2 pieces. Now that might not be 2 pieces.
There's a lot of standing around. Is there any delegation of authority or task or?
In a way.
Okay, who's doing what?
Right now they're working on, they're gonna cut a bow stem and they may start in on a transom. I really can't tell you. I know they got the wood scarf the other day. This plywood is scarfed up. It's like they did it in 4-foot. I thought they'd cut them in 2 and then cut them.
Usually it's better to do it at full width and then cut it.
2 6-inch pieces and 2 4-inch pieces.
That's what they did.
If I ever had a pet in my life at school, I had.
Is there anybody laying out the signs? They do it with a sander?
Sander? Oh.
You said 2 4s.
No, it was planed, you know. I think it had an electric plane.
It looks like it's sander.
Well, there may have been some sanding done, but he did do it with an electric plane. I didn't see him, but Pat
Wow.
told me he did. And there's a picture of him doing it with an electric plane.
Somebody, we need to start laying out the offsets or whatever.
4 together.
But I don't know what they're doing.
Well, you have to have a transom and a stem.
Yeah, but you need to have the sides and the bottoms, and that all has to be laid out and marked off and cut out.
I think it's going to be, well, I haven't looked at the booklet. Have you? You looked at the book?
Well, I'm not sure.
Basically, you split them.
Yeah.
Basically, they're split. The sides.
We'll get our 2 4s out of here, we'll get our 2 6s out of here.
So are you doing the stem for both boats?
Right.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just doing one. Okay.
I didn't realize that either, so that's.
So we get our 2 4s out of this, we get our 2 6s out of there. And what we'll do is when we put them together, we'll make the 4s match up on one end, and the other end it don't have to match up, because it's gonna get cut away. See, this board's a little shorter than what we're cutting,
Right. Okay.
so that'll work.
Hi, how you doing?
And then we might have enough to get our, this thing's got 12 inches.
Worked on them my whole life, you know, everybody's,
Is Billy Gansky there?
yeah, he's doing pretty good, I think. He's about 60 though.
Something else.
He was? Hey, Rick.
Hey, John. Glad you made it.
Yes, sir, thank you.
You see that mahogany?
Yeah, it's like
We counted it. I've counted it. I know where everything is.
Oh.
Better not leave.
I hate to hear you take a saw to something like that, you know,
I know,
it
it's
seems like
fine. It's a shame, but it has to be done.
you could get some narrower boards and make something.
Well, you go find it.
I tried. I found a place up there, it's like $9 a board foot.
What?
$9.15 a board foot for 8-quarter material.
Wow.
That's cheap, right? I found it online. Now, the biggest stick they'll give us is 10 foot.
Well, this is longer than 10 foot and bigger than 8-quarter, and I got it for less than that.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Let's see. Looks like everybody's here that signed up, just about. We're a little early, Coach, but we can start.
It's time. It's time.
You haven't signed in, sign in.
How many hours did you work on it at a time?
2 hours.
2 hours?
2 hours in the afternoon.
Did you do anything between times, or was it all done right there?
See, I just taught in junior high half a day, and then I started teaching at shop class in high school.
Does that one piece, does it have to be 6 inches wide? Can it be a little narrow?
Yeah, I could put it out a little bit there.
Can it be 5 inches?
Look here.
Could it be this one be 5
It
inches?
could be 5 inches long.
Okay, then
All
that'd be
you
good.
center it up.
Right. I'm going on. The one piece that you're talking about.
Whenever I get up here in a minute, I want you to come up with it.
Okay. Because see if I can go 5 inches, this one piece we're gonna cut off, we're gonna
Look at
get,
it. Look at it.
yeah, I see it,
They both 3 inches?
3 inches.
I wanted that block. 2 by 3, 2 by 4 by 3 inches, 2 by 6 by 3 inches, that's 6 inches.
Well, they make 3 inches.
Well, if it's close to 6 inches, it'll work.
Yeah.
How thick are they, Will?
3 inches. I think that's work. Who?
1 7/8.
Two of them would be how much?
1 7/8 and 1
Well, it'd be
7/8.
4 inches, but less than 4 inches.
It'd be a 1/4 inch less than 4 inches.
Hey, we can use it.
That'll work, all right. I'm just trying to get as much material out of the board as I can get without.
I think we can get 2 out of that.
With the piece that you're talking about, with the piece that you're talking about, and this 40-inch piece that I'm gonna cut, we're gonna get both bow stamps,
Okay.
and we're gonna get one set of,
Check out where the glue is. Check out where the C-clamps are. And one thing we need to get somebody to do tonight is cut some plywood places so we don't
right, he's supposed to have some.
screw up the wood, the mahogany.
He's supposed to have some.
Okay, well, if you're gonna use,
John Henry,
I can see a little resemblance there now.
so you're going with, hey, Will, are you going with 3 layers to get 6 inches?
no, just 2.
2 layers for 4 inches?
Right.
But this is 6 inches, right?
Well, it don't have to be exact, that's,
We can get it cut. As long as we got enough nailing space in this area right here. It's the main thing. 'Cause we can bring it a little closer to the front if we want to. We can work out.
Yeah, if you did 3 of them, you'd have 6 inches.
yeah, but
We don't want to go that far.
no.
Oh, okay.
That's all we ever used anyhow was just,
2 by 6 and 2 by 4. That's why everyone's way, isn't it?
Well, yeah, a 2 by 4 and a 2 by 6.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be a full 2 by 6 and you don't have to be a full 2 by 4, but we're going to be in the ballpark. We're going to make this one a 2 by 5. I mean, yeah, and then we're going to make a 4 out of this other one.
ready?
Well, it's about 9 minutes still, but whenever you're ready, we can go.
I'm going to introduce you, tell some lies.
Do what?
I'm going to introduce you and tell some lies.
You know I don't lie.
I said, I'm going to tell the lies.
Okay, you start.
You reach that board?
I can, but I might get
Sit it
you
on
up
the
there.
ground and turn it
I
up.
think you might be the one that does it right.
You ever seen me write? Let's get somebody that can write.
Didn't you put that up there? You wrote my name?
No, he did. He did.
You gonna make him right?
What?
You gonna make him right?
What's the 61 about?
That's vote number 61. Skiff number 61 is gonna be the first one to do it.
Man, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Lumber, you either gotta wait till it dries so you can sand it all down, or if you're halfway between putting a rail in, you're really messed up. So once you start putting a rail or putting a splash rail in, you gotta be right on it and get the job finished. That's the only thing I can say there. I smoke myself to death, so I can't hardly hammer too fast anymore. So somebody else is gonna have to do the hammering.
Okay, another thing that, like for instance, with working with glue, once you put the two together, you only have so long before it starts firing. And that's why I recommend finding the glue that has 1-to-1 ratio. In other words, you put a cup of this and a cup of that, and you know that your ratio is all right, and you can save money by mixing up small amounts that you need to and keep it up. But that old glue, you can order, the last time this piece of thing right here, I'd say in the 80s or in the mid-90s, somewhere along in there, to get glue, you almost had to get it out of Florida and 1-to-1 mixture. And by then, some of that glue was getting up there where it was really costly already. I don't know where we're going.
I think he got West Marine.
It's West System.
West System.
West. No relation to West Marine.
Right, okay, right, the West System.
West System is a good glue. But I always say Bruton glue because that's the first glue that we used, and you could buy it in Corpus Christi by the gallons, the hardener and by the gallon, and the resin by the resin. But Bruton went out of business a long time, but you'll hear me say it, Bruton. I don't know how many gallons of that stuff that we used. Like this 61 up there says, this is number 61, 61st boat that I'm going to have something to do with. Most of them I had my hands right on and doing the glue jobs, or I had to obtain the glue. And I can't really tell you, if you're going to start one of these boats yourself, you might find the glue going to Rockport again in that building. But we were at a building on the side street where we finally found the glue the last time, right?
No, the last time, both times you ordered it out of Florida.
The last time we bought any glue over there, though, we were on the side road, and we had to furnish my own containers to get it too.
How much glue goes in a boat?
Well, I tell you what, you ought to have 2 gallons, a gallon of glue and a gallon of this. And yet what's left over, you're not going to lose too much of it if you keep it sealed up. And the main thing I want to say about the glue is, you don't use this stick to stir this up with, or stir up the resin. The resin is really thicker than the other one is. Some of them are almost half and half. But you got to be careful that you ruin your resin. You use a stick for this one, you use a stick for this one. And when you pour it, you do the same thing. When you put them both together, that means it's going to fire. And sometime down the line, it's going to get hard. And if you don't work it, and that's why I like using the 2-part. If you do it the way it says it, mix it 50-50, that's fine. But if it says 1/4 of this to a gallon of this, 1/4 of a cup, you pay attention to whatever glue we're going to use. And if you overdo it, you're going to have a stick sitting in a glue pot that you can't get the stick out of, nor the glue out of that pot. And it's happened to me, and it's happened to most people who have messed with boats. And I'm going to say this, and Will has already been talking about some of the lumber over here. Sometimes we do a lot in one night. Sometimes we glue things and say this is it for the night or something like this, unless there's some other part of the thing that we can do. And most of the time, and I can't walk unless I have crutches. I get around in a wheelchair, as you can see. I've lost my legs, I just can't go walk with them, and I can get around with crutches though. But Will can tell you everything that we do on a boat, or how it's done, or how to cut something, or how to cut a bow stem. If you don't know how to cut a bow stem, whenever, by looking at this book, if we have one, I will get by the saw and show you how to do it. One thing you don't do is once you set the saw, never change the direction of the blade. Well, how you gonna cut that?
The angle of the blade.
The angle of the blade, yeah, the angle, excuse me, the angle of the
Change
blade.
the depth, but you
You
don't
take,
change.
drop the, you can drop the saw blade up and down, and when you get ready to put it on the other side of the table, take that saw blade and jack it down and run it to the other side where you can do it, and you might have to change some blocks around. I don't know what saw y'all are using, but the saw that we have at home, you never have to change the angle on that blade to cut something. I'm here that, and I want to say this again, that Rick made a mistake when he said a 3-day vote, but I'm glad he did. I'm happy that he did, because there's no such thing as a 3-day vote. Whenever you get on this thing, you have to let the glue dry. You can go to some other project if you can, whenever you're building this boat. But now I say, how many people are here? About 15 that are going to be in this class and so forth. Do you think that we could start maybe 2 boats at one time, Rick?
Yeah, we can come out.
Okay. And will we have a place to park that we could park this one up by the Tina, right?
Sure.
Okay, we could probably get them in here, because I'd like to see them both together if we start 2 of them. And I'd like to maybe break this thing up into 2 teams. I mean, 1 team on this one, 1 team on this one. Right here, I know that Rick's got these things up here, he's gonna sell them to you, but let me tell you, this kind of makes me mad when he's gonna do that. Because it was in the mid-90s, and I was down there, it put me to bed. And I was about to go nuts, and I don't like watching TV all the time and stuff like that, so I got this thing, and it took me about 3 or 4 days lying in bed. I wrote this thing down with a pillow, because he told me he didn't want me sitting up or anything else. It's just let this leg be in that bed the whole time there, other than getting up and going to the bathroom. And I wrote this. There's a few mistakes in it. I've never corrected it, and I don't think Rick did for me either. But this was written in about 3 days, and I still remembered how to do one and so forth. And I already knew by then I was forgetting some things. You know, I'd have to go back and look on my book or somewhere else to find out how to do something, or I'd have to go ask Will sometimes hey, what do you do here? I forgot. And he can tell you that I'm getting a little forgetful as time goes on. So you can ask me as many questions as you want to, and if I don't know, you might be referred to Will to answer those questions. His memory is a lot better than mine. Now, I hope that we can set this up where every one of you can come, and if we get 2 boats, and I hope, do we know where the 2 boats are going to be? I mean,
They're there.
they're going to be, oh yeah, you're going to raffle one of them off? And
Yeah, one will stay here in the museum.
Okay.
One will be raffled off to help support the project.
Now, you could tell us if we know what kind of power do we want to put on one, and what kind of power do we want to make the one that we're going to raffle off or something like that? Because that's one thing that we really need to know about a skiff, the power that you're going to put on it. And there's a thing that, how many can tell me what a hook on a boat is?
Bottom.
It's on the bottom. Now, what is it on the bottom?
It goes back, and you have a turn where it's going to plane on the back end of the boat. That's what the hook is.
Okay. When I first started building boats and being around Bubba Molina is how I learned how to build a boat. And I want to tell you this little story. Bubba had built about 9 boats, and I was working for Ray Brown Oil Tools out of Houston, teaching school here, but I was running the Brown Oil Tool boat. And Bubba wanted a double barrel shotgun that Ray Brown had. And he said, I want this for my daughter Netta. And Ray just gave it to him and said, this for Netta. He wanted to pay him for it. And Ray Brown told him, he said, no, just build me a skiff. So when he got time to build that skiff, Ray Brown tells us that, he says, not building a skiff for me, Bubba, says, you gonna build it and I want it to be Doyle Marek. And Bubba, he didn't like that too much. But the first thing I told him, I said, Bubba, I want the skiff just like you build, but there's one thing I don't like about your skiffs, that putting those two 2x12s in the back for the stern and driving in at the edge of it. I said, I want a framed in stern. He cursed for about 20 minutes or so, and he raised hell about it, and he stomped around about it, and he also told me, he says, okay, I'm gonna frame the skiff out, frame the stern out in the skiff here, but I want to tell you one damn thing, I'll never build you another boat. And anyway, Bubba built that boat and put that plywood stern in, framed out with plywood on it and everything else. That was the last bull pine stern, the one he built before that he never built another one with a bull pine stern in it.
See, that's a Smoky, but that's a Bubba Molina boat, but Smoky, Bubba Molina cut it out, Smoky Gaines built it. But look at the stern in it, it's a plywood stern.
And what would they have the other way?
Just bull pine, 2x12.
Oh, okay.
2x12.
And he nailed right into the end of the bull pine, you know, and when you nail in end grain, nails don't hold.
Right.
Any questions right now? Any kind of question?
You were talking about the hook.
Oh, the hook.
We're going to get back on that.
Oh, okay.
Bubba used to cut the hook in it. In other
You
words,
can
he'd
see it.
start here
You
about
can see it right there.
off there, and he'd come across it and put it right. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah, you can really see it if you go to the front of the boat and get down
Yeah,
and
if you
look.
sit right here, right over here and look, you can see that hook that goes in it.
We quit doing that a long time ago. I didn't build many skiffs that had that hook put in. All the skiffs I've built ever since then was always fiberglass up to the splash rail and across the stern. All we did is in the back of it, we started about 3 foot back, and we put a layer of cloth and resin, because that's all fiberglass, that part is fiberglass. Then we put another one a little bit shorter and another one, and it depends on how much of a hook you want on it, but we would like to know what engine you're going to put on your boat before we do it, before we put the hook on. But one thing about it, if it had too many layers on there to make it come out level, otherwise you're not going to make that boat come out level with an outboard on it. It's going to ride like this through the water. The bow stem's going to be looking at the stars or the sun every day. But once you put that hook on it, it brings it down. And the more power you put on that engine and running it, the more it comes down. So that works a lot better than anything else. But we'll start off, and whenever we build a boat for someone, we ask, what kind of power are you going to put in? Probably the best power you can ever put on a skiff is about a 35, maybe a 40. But I've seen Billy Ryder and his running mate.
His boy. Billy Ryder's boy.
Bubba.
Yeah, Clinton. Yeah, he's the one that always put that 115 on the back of one of them.
You could tear them up, I'll tell you that, but I tell you what, it took them some time to tear that boat up with that big engine. And if you just take your time with them and you work with them and don't try, I'm going to say it again, and I'll say it probably 15 more times before you get out of this class. Let the glue dry. Once you put something together, don't go working on something around there that you're going to be moving that piece. Put it down and let it dry. That glue is the thing that holds those things together. If you want to say anything about boat building, we'll start off on it.
No, not really a whole lot other than we just watch what we're doing.
I have a question about the hook. Would it be you need more hook for a bigger motor or less hook? Less hook for a bigger motor.
And the reason why we quit cutting them in, if you cut it in and you make a mistake, you're screwed. There ain't no correcting it.
You can
But-
either build another boat or
Or are you live with what you got, you know?
How did he find the hook in the first place?
Bubba?
Bubba, how did,
I don't really
how did the
know
hook
how-
come about?
Was it a screw up or not?
what?
Was it a screw up or not?
No,
No, no, no, no, no.
He knew what he was doing,
I
but
think
he
he
did
still
make,
cuts them in them.
Yeah,
But he just cuts them in there, starts up here, goes to the back, and about 3 foot off the back, it kinda comes back down to nothing. And he just cuts out a strip in it. And if you look at them, you can see them.
it's just got a belly in it. If you look at it, you can see it, it's just got a belly in it. And, but if you make a mistake,
You're screwed.
you're screwed. You gotta live with what you got. Now, if
cut
you
it
make
off,
a
make it
mistake by
shorter.
fiberglassing it in, you can either have more or take it off, because you can grind it away.
You cut it in when you cut the sides out and the
When
both
you
lay
cut-
together,
right.
that's when you cut the hook.
That's when
So
you-
they're both the same.
Right.
Or that's when he did it. We don't do it
Right.
like that. But
What?
that's when he did it. When you had the
Right.
sides laying there, you cut your sides out at the same time, you'll see. Once you get them together, mark out one, you cut them both together, and you cut them both out that way they're identical. And that's when he cut his hook in there. That's all I'm saying.
And it's so much easier because you can add to,
No,
and even if you had a 25 horsepower Johnson or something and you decided you wanted a bigger engine or something, you can remove that if you just glass it in the back. I mean, just use the glass and just build it up the layers of mat to get your hook into it. And that's why we always ask anyone that we ever build a skiff for, what kind of power are you gonna put in? What kind of power are you gonna put in? Anybody have a question now? Let's,
Instead of putting a hook in it, we put shingle on it. Basically, is what it is. It's a shingle instead of a hook. Not fiberglass shingle. Now, somewhere in this book, there is a mistake. And we can't remember where it is. We found it once and we done forgot where it is. But as we're building, we will find it again and then we can correct it. I don't know if this is one of the ones that got corrected, but somewhere there is a mistake.
Let's hope
Incredible.
that we find it before we finish the boat.
Like Easter egg hunt, baby.
Gents, this is a special night because it's the rebirth of the Farley Boat Works. We have two Farleys here with us, Pat Farley and Barney Farley, right there. And the man who is sitting here talking is absolutely the master skiff builder that's still with us. The important part of this session, this whole class, is that we're handing off the skill instead of having to reinvent it. So he's beginning to talk about some things that, you know, don't make any sense to you. Don't worry about it. They'll come together in a little while. These skiffs go back to about the 1870s, and they changed over the years because guys like him figured out when you're sailing a boat, you need one kind of shape. When you're rowing it, another kind, and finally when the power came along, a third. We have the lines of a boat in there. It was a big, huge skiff that Smokey built for Perry Bass. It's 18 feet long, 6 feet across the bottom, and there's so darn little hook on it that you can't see it in the drawing. There's almost none. And so this is an arcane secret, this hook thing. It's hard to determine it.
if he's not, Mr. Bass was sending stuff out of Rockport over to the island, right?
That's right.
That's where he built that boat.
But Bubba Molina is the man that came up with the floating bottom.
I was gonna ask you
No
about that.
nails.
No nails,
nails except on the chines.
except on the
and
chines and across
stern
the stern and the bow stem.
and bow stem.
No
No
frame.
nails in the bottom. If not, those nails will walk out of that boat. I guarantee it'll be leaking before you own that boat out, taking it out 3 or 4 times. The nails will walk out of the bottom. Even if it's glass, it'll walk out of the
There's,
bottom.
there's no,
Across.
no nails because there's no frames.
We're gonna use
No.
screws or nails?
We're gonna nail.
We're gonna nail it?
Right.
What are you gonna do?
Well, we're screwing.
Yeah,
Yes, we
if you
got
wanna put out, if you wanna put out the money.
Well, you know, I mean, that's not the way you used to build them, I understand.
Well, we started off with Monel nails.
Yeah,
You know what Monel nails cost now?
I can't imagine.
You could go buy gold nails cheaper.
But, I mean, we use ring-shaped nails, 3-inch, 4-inch ring-shaped nails and so forth else. But if you want to cut the price out for the screws, fine. I mean, whatever he's gonna let us use up here. All the ones we've built up there have been with,
What do we have for fasteners?
Do what?
Do we have the fasteners picked out and achieved?
Right down there in that.
What are they?
Their nails.
Right here.
Their nails, yeah.
So a floating bottom just floats on the
You
frame.
mean like from Billmore's or?
Well, actually,
I don't see any
the only
nails.
frame
Here,
that's in
Marty,
there
right here.
goes to the dry box, but it doesn't go to the floor. I mean, the dry box, there's two frames. You got the front frame of the dry box, the back frame of the dry box. And then you got a seat that's somewhat a frame, then you got the back of the polling deck that's somewhat a frame. But there's nothing that goes across the bottom that you could even nail to.
So it's secured on the
oh,
edges.
that
It's
bottom is
secured on
floating,
the edges.
floating bottom.
Now, they used to, the old Farleys, they used to build a duck hunting boat that they pulled behind the big boats, and then they had oar them, or they had a real small motor that they went over to the duck line with. But they had frames in theirs because they planked all of theirs. Well, once they started putting motors on those particular boats, and they going down that choppy channel, well, all the screws or all the nails, even the screws came out, or the nails came out, because it's not designed to take that, you know. But the bigger boats don't seem to do that, but these small skiffs, they do so much of this. And Bubba Molina is the one that came up, he said, I'm gonna try something. He took all the frames out of one of them Farley boats and he nailed it all around the edge, put that motor on there, and he never had no trouble with it.
But he learned to put that bow where he raised it up like this, where the Farley boats were flat bottom all the way.
Right.
That he could get the other boat. Most people use their shorter boat to pull the lines down. This is before I got to Port Aransas. Most of the duck hunters were big. Duck hunting was big back from there before they started putting limits on them and everything like this. And over half the guys that were back then did duck hunted in the wintertime. And going down the channel, they'd have to go slow with a Farley skiff because it had the straight bottom and everything else. And they'd do this back and forth, and if waves come along, old Bubba, he's the one that knocked that frame in it, and that bow comes up, and he could pass them up going to the duck lines. He could put them behind his boat, and he'd pass them because they had to pull those skiffs slower going to that with the flat bottom ones going to where their duck line was. And
I have a question. In all these years of building the boats and then seeing the boats later and all, did you ever have trouble with the nails coming out?
The nails?
Once you got nailed and glued, was that ever an issue?
Well, every now and then you have something that fails on you, you know, because usually it was because of a mistake where somebody didn't mix the glue right.
Maybe a little dry rot or something?
Well, dry rot sometimes, yeah, has a lot to do with that. But the only time we ever had any leaks in the middle of the boat was where somebody tried to nail something to the floor. You know.
the only fasteners that you have in the center of the boat is whenever you put the inner keel and outer keel on, we use
Yeah.